everybody, Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Happy hump day. Hope you're having a great midweek. And Bitcoin is actually still kind of fumbling around the low $19,000 range. It was up and down, very volatile. I think at this altitude, the air is kind of thin. And so we are seeing increased volatility. We had a major dip yesterday, as likely many of you saw. So we're about 100 or 200 down from where we were at the time of yesterday's video. And similarly, you have some other altcoin projects that are down a little bit. Ethereum is down off of its recent highs, as is Litecoin. But then you have all kinds of other projects, including some of the ones that we discussed in yesterday's video, which have actually picked up the slack and are continuing to perform. I'm going to run through a few of them just briefly here. And at the end of this video, we're going to be discussing specifically a couple of project updates in the form of TrustSwap and Crypto.com, in fact. But as we discussed yesterday, VeChain was a big winner these last 7 days. And even up from yesterday's video, VeChain 16.2%. That's plus 16.2% in these last 24 hours. Zilliqa, which we didn't cover because its weekly performance was not among those projects that we had focused on, but nonetheless, its 24-hour performance up 37.3%, now up over 3.2 cents US, just a meteoric 24 hours. Same with Stellar, which just continues to explode. Stellar XLM here above 20 cents, which I thought was going to be resistance, personally speaking. I got this one wrong. It is up another 30.2% in these last 24 hours. Then we have Nano, which some of you, I think, rightfully called out, was something that should have been on our radar. Not that it wasn't, it just wasn't a star performer in terms of the weekly numbers, but Nano is up 24.2% in these last 24 hours, up now to $1.39. Then we have Digibyte up 20.4% in the last day, up over 2.8 cents right now. Icon up 17.4% in the last day, 52.5 cents US for ICX. And finally here we have Filecoin at $34.03. That is up 15.3% in these last 24 hours. So just a quick roundup here. We have in addition, I should say to that, we have some good performances that we've seen out of Cardano, which we did focus on yesterday. Now at nearly 17 cents, up 5.6% in these last 24 hours. And also, I guess, honorable mention here, Tron is chugging right along. They're up 7.5% to now at just about 3.6 cents US. So it's kind of sporadic. It's kind of unpredictable. Certain projects are doing well, others are retracing a little bit. But as Bitcoin finds its footing, still a lot of positive altcoin news to report. It's great to see. And Ethereum is down right now below $600, but as discussed in yesterday's video, the sentiment has kind of been, look, who cares? Ethereum is a long-term hold, and I think it's poised to do very, very well. Great meme here about how Vitalik Buterin's attractiveness seems to be correlated with the price of Ethereum, kind of in the lower range, 88, 150. Nothing too special, but it starts to switch at around, I guess, the $400 or $500 mark. As you can see here, $800 and $1,500. Vitalik certainly starts to look more and more appealing. Here he is at $2,500 per Ethereum. This is projected. And finally at $10,000 per Ethereum. Obviously just joking around, guys, but isn't it amazing how you can recreate based on somebody's facial features a totally new identity? It's really quite something. So all this to say, Ethereum continues to be, I think, it's my biggest bag at the moment, and I'm not really speaking for myself right now, but I think a lot of people are of that opinion. Ethereum, who cares about the day-to-day? It's here for the long term. It's got a very bright and a very big future, at least in my opinion. Its all-time highs are all ahead of it with Vitalik at the helm, and also with the 2.0 coming up very quickly at the beginning of December. Let us know your thoughts about Ethereum in the comments below, guys. But I gotta say, I think I was pleasantly surprised last time I asked. It seems like many of you do have that 32 ETH that's ready to stake come the 1st of December for Ethereum 2.0. Let me update the polling here and just ask, are you ready and are you willing? So maybe you have 32 ETH, but are you willing, more importantly, to stake that amount with the launch of 2.0? Let us know about that, guys, in the comments below. I want to switch gears now and discuss Bitcoin economics a little bit, sitting at just over $19,200 here as I record. I mentioned the other day that, Grayscale, I think this was 3 or 4 days ago, I kind of hypothesized that, look, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I would stand to guess that their assets under management, AUM, have now exceeded $11 billion. Here's an update from yesterday, the 24th of November. Net assets under management holdings per share and market price per share for our investment products. Total assets under management, $12.1 billion. $12.1 billion. These guys have literally accumulated several billion dollars just on this latest Bitcoin pump. It's unbelievable. And it's fairly diversified too. It's not just Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, ZEN, LTC, XLM, XRP, which has been nice for them recently for sure. ZEC. Take a look here at, I guess, more of the detailed products here and some of the metrics behind them. I've said it before, guys. I think Grayscale right now is going to be written about in very favorable terms in the history books. And not only that, they're rewriting the textbooks for strategy, for business strategy, for how to handle custodial asset management. I mean, the amount of Bitcoin that they hold as a percentage is just unreal. And if nothing else, that's going to distinguish them as a top tier corporate, as a top tier company, really in this century and beyond, in my opinion. And this is just fantastic work, and they're only gaining more and more momentum. Keep an eye on Grayscale. I really and truly do believe that not only Grayscale, but Barry Silbert will become household names, perhaps at the peak of this next bull cycle. Unbelievable work. Kudos to Grayscale. Well done. And giving you a sense of the demand for, again, not only talking about Bitcoin, but some of the other products that Grayscale offers. Crypto Yoda here. So apparently the Grayscale Litecoin Trust is in full FOMO mode, currently trading at around $500, which is a ridiculous premium because Litecoin isn't even worth $100 right now based on current prices. I don't pretend to understand what is going on there, but I'm sure glad I have a heavy bag of LTC, as am I. As I mentioned this before, LTC is one of my heaviest bags at the moment, but I have not despaired. I have strong hands and I'm willing to wait it out. I think, this is very much conjecture and speculation, but for those people that are not in the space, maybe they don't have access or they don't know how to purchase a sub $100 Litecoin, which again is possible right now in just about any other exchange, maybe they're willing to go to the Grayscales of the world and fork up this kind of premium, although $500 is still very, very expensive for a product that is readily available for much cheaper. I find that weird, and this is kind of anecdotal. It's an isolated piece of information, but part of me wants to believe that maybe this is an indication of some of the demand that is out there for people that don't otherwise know how to satisfy it. And then, taking a look at the Bitcoin charts, we haven't seen much improvement in terms of Bitcoin popularity here. The search term Bitcoin, this is comparing where we sit today at about 22% of the all-time high, which of course took place in November and January of 2017. But 22%, you may recall the other day we're only at 11%. So in fact, the trajectory right now is going upward. And I think we're starting to see the knee of the curve. I think we're starting to move in a positive direction. What's interesting is that if you make this comparison, so in the blue you have the term Bitcoin. Again, this is just relative popularity of that term over the year expressed as a percentage, with 100% being the maximum popularity back in December of 2017. If you compare Bitcoin, which is in blue, to the term buy Bitcoin in red, you can also just barely, but it's there, you can see a similar uptick in buy Bitcoin as a search term. So my hypothesis right now is that we're starting to see an increase that's going to be steadily growing with time, and maybe we'll be able to challenge, again, just in terms of Google search terms, those December 2017 highs. Not to spend any time on market analysis in other sectors, but if you do follow the markets, you'll know that the Dow broke $30,000. CNBC tweeting that here breaking, Dow Jones Industrial Average hits 30K for the first time, with a link that you can go to here. Right now they're down a little bit, so down about $85 off of that 30K, $29,915. And it's just interesting, we had this, I guess, theory that Bitcoin was starting to decouple itself from the markets, but if you look at the correlation over the past few days, Bitcoin in terms of 2020 hit its all-time highs, really in sync with that Dow Jones 30K all-time high. Now that it's faltering a little bit, the Dow that is, so is Bitcoin, kind of coming back down a little bit, starting to look a little bit shy and a little bit timid. So this is going to be interesting to chart going forward if we break through 30K again on the Dow, see how that maps up against Bitcoin's performance over these next few days. Dan Tapiero here on Twitter. One of my new favorite charts on Bitcoin from an old friend, Dan Pantera, of course, of Pantera Capital. Looks similar-ish to 100 trillion USD or Plan B's RSI, Relative Strength Index chart I posted a few weeks ago. After a 500% rally from March, still looks massively oversold. Next 2 years could be even larger returns than I was anticipating. And he says here that he was referring to this chart, so he may have tweeted the wrong one there, but Bitcoin RSI Relative Strength Index, as you can see here, still relatively low versus some of the all-time highs that we've seen in the past for similar bull markets. So the argument here that Dan is making is that, there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of room ahead of us here, and that we're still in a relative sense oversold right now, meaning that more and more people are willing to step up and buy in these next weeks and months, presumably, hopefully, let's see. And plan B here, echoing some of those sentiments. Slowly but surely, this is beginning to look like the start of a bull market. Best Bitcoin month in dollar terms, not percentage, but in dollar term gains, plus 5,400. That's a record. And RSI, again, relative strength index, crawling towards bull market levels. So things are looking pretty good at the macro level for Bitcoin. With all that being said, let's zoom in a little bit now and take a look at a couple of altcoin projects in particular, starting with updates from TrustSwap at TrustSwap on Twitter. Make sure you're following. Swap is gearing up for a massive end of November. They're going to be announcing the following: a company acquisition. They're unveiling a so-called stealth project, and we don't really know much about that, but we expect to hear something big pretty soon. Next, Launchpad project will be announced. They're onboarding more than 10 new developers. Full UI user interface overhaul on token locks begins, and they're going live with a fully detailed Launchpad portal. Get ready. And Swap is definitely one of the lower market caps versus those other projects that we saw at the beginning of the video, but they could have well been included. Now at nearly $40 million total market cap and up 33.7% on the day, largely on some of that very good news that I just reported, or some of those updates that we're anticipating. Now 57 cents US, again up 33.7% on the day. And you guys can read more about that here on altcoinbuzz.io. Massive moves, moonshot charts. That is TrustSwap with this article here by Deepika. And here we have crypto.com at crypto.com on Twitter with some updates. We're excited to become one of the first cryptocurrency platforms to receive in-principle approvals for a Class 3 virtual financial assets or VFA license and a financial institution license from the Malta Financial Services Authority. You guys can read more about the details on blog.crypto.com or on altcoinbuzz.io here with this piece. Crypto.com obtains 2 new licenses in Malta with this article by Rachel. A couple of other quick updates here from crypto.com. BTC USD trading pair is now available on the crypto.com exchange. You can trade Bitcoin in CRO, Ethereum, XRP, EOS, XLM, Link, and many other pairs. And you can log in here, of course, on crypto.com/exchange. Well, that about wraps it up for today, everybody. Do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels. Keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io for full coverage, not only of Bitcoin, as it hopefully attains its new all-time high soon, but all these other altcoin projects that are just taking off. Guys, if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, of course, to receive notifications as well. Best of luck if you choose to invest on this hump day. Have a great midweek, everybody. Stay safe, and as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.